Hey everyone, welcome back to Sages of Islam. Today, I'm going to tell you the extraordinary story of a man who literally revolutionized human thought in the 9th century. A genius who dared to do what no one had done before him. Marry ancient Greek wisdom with Islamic faith, thus creating the foundations of modern Arab philosophy. Imagine for a moment, we're in the year 850 in Baghdad, the most brilliant city in the world at that time. In the corridors of the House of Wisdom, a man works day and night on ancient Greek manuscripts. This man will change the course of intellectual history for centuries to come. Allow me to introduce Abu Yusuf Yaqub ibn Ishaq Al-Kindi, nicknamed the philosopher of the Arabs, a title he truly deserves. But who was this man really? How did he revolutionize the thinking of his time? And why does his influence still resonate today in our universities, our technologies, and even in the algorithms that protect our data on the internet? Stay until the end, because I'm going to reveal how Al-Kindi solved one of the greatest debates of his era. Can you reconcile Greek philosophy with Islam? His answer will surprise you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Al-Kindi was born around 801 AD in Kufa, in present-day Iraq, and already his birth tells us a lot about his exceptional destiny. His father, Ishaq ibn Sabah, was governor of Kufa under Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Yes, the same Harun al-Rashid from the Arabian Nights. But what's fascinating is that Al-Kindi belonged to the noble Al-Kindi tribe of Yemen. This tribe had been renowned for its erudition and wisdom for generations. In fact, the name Al-Kindi had become synonymous with intelligence in Arab culture of the time. Poets of the era would say, "He is wiser than an Al-Kindi," to describe someone exceptionally intelligent. But the real revolution begins when, around 825, Al-Kindi moved to Baghdad, capital of the Abbasid Empire, and that's where his life changed forever. He joined the famous Beit al-Hikma, the House of Wisdom. Imagine a gigantic library, research center, and university all in one. This revolutionary institution was directed by the Banu Musa brothers, 3 genius mechanics and mathematicians. At this time, Baghdad was experiencing an extraordinary intellectual movement. The translation movement. Thousands of Greek, Persian, and Indian texts were being translated into Arabic. Aristotle, Plato, Galen, Ptolemy, Euclid, all these geniuses of antiquity now spoke Arabic. And guess who supervised a large part of these translations? Our Al-Kindi. But be careful. He didn't just translate. He corrected, improved, and most importantly, he added his own revolutionary commentaries. This was the beginning of an intellectual revolution that would transform the world. So what makes Al-Kindi so special? First, his incredible versatility. This man was a true intellectual Swiss Army knife. Philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, music, optics, cryptography, alchemy. He excelled in everything. Al-Kindi wrote over 260 works. Unfortunately, only about 40 have survived to us. But these texts are enough to reveal his multifaceted genius. In mathematics, he didn't just use Indian numerals, what we call Arabic numerals today. He developed revolutionary calculation methods and was one of the first to systematize nascent algebra. His treatise, De Numeris Indicis, introduced the decimal system to the West. In astronomy, Al-Kindi calculated the Earth's circumference with remarkable precision for the time. He also developed innovative astronomical instruments, notably a perfected astrolabe that would be used for centuries. In medicine, he revolutionized pharmacology. His treatise on compound medicines remained a reference for 600 years. He was the first to establish precise dosages and study drug interactions. European doctors of the Middle Ages swore by his methods. In music, Al-Kindi developed a revolutionary theory of musical modes. He established the correspondence between mathematics and musical harmony, influencing both Arab and Western music. His musical treatises inspired European troubadours. But perhaps his most brilliant discovery concerns cryptography. Al-Kindi invented frequency analysis, a technique that revolutionized decryption. This method involves analyzing the frequency of letter appearances in encrypted text. Brilliant, right? Here's how it works. In every language, certain letters appear more often than others. In Arabic, the alif is very frequent. By analyzing these frequencies in a coded message, you can guess which encrypted letters correspond to the most common letters. It's revolutionary. This technique would be used for centuries. Secret services of all empires adopted it. Edgar Allan Poe drew inspiration from it for the gold bug. And even today, frequency analysis remains fundamental in modern cryptanalysis. His most famous work? Fi al-Falsafa al-Ula, on first philosophy. In this revolutionary treatise, Al-Kindi does something audacious for the time. He affirms that philosophy and religion are not enemies. According to him, philosophy is the knowledge of eternal and universal realities. And guess what? This quest for truth doesn't contradict Islam, it complements it. Here's his brilliant formula. We must honor and thank those who have transmitted to us even a particle of truth, all the more so those who have transmitted much to us. Even if this truth comes from pagan Greeks, this open-mindedness was revolutionary at a time when many rejected all foreign knowledge. Al-Kindi develops a fascinating theory of knowledge. He distinguishes 4 types of intellect: material intellect, habitual intellect, actual intellect, and agent intellect. This classification would influence all the Muslim philosophers who followed. Material intellect is our potential for knowledge, like a blank tablet. Habitual intellect is when we acquire knowledge, the tablet fills up. Actual intellect is when we use this knowledge, we read the tablet. And agent intellect? That's the divine intellect that illuminates our understanding, the light that allows us to read. But watch out, Al-Kindi wasn't universally accepted. In his time, Baghdad was bubbling with passionate intellectual debates. On one side, the Mu'tazila, rationalist theologians who wanted to apply Greek logic to Islam. On the other, traditionalists who rejected any foreign influence. And Al-Kindi? He navigated masterfully between these two camps. He maintained that human reason could reach certain truths about God and the universe. But, and this is crucial, he maintained that revelation remained superior to reason. Listen carefully to this quote from Al-Kindi. We should not be ashamed to acknowledge truth and to assimilate it from whatever source it comes to us, even if it is brought to us by former generations and foreign peoples. Revolutionary for the time. He advocated the universality of knowledge, 1,200 years before globalization. This position earned him enemies. Conservatives accused him of being too influenced by infidel Greeks. Ultra-rationalists found him too attached to revelation. But Al-Kindi stood firm, convinced that truth had no homeland. But this intellectual audacity would cost him dearly. Under Caliph al-Mutawakkil, the winds changed. The power rejected Greek influences and persecuted intellectuals who were too open. Al-Kindi saw his library confiscated. Imagine the pain of this scholar deprived of his books. His adversaries hoped to break him. They thought that by taking away his works, they would stifle his thought. What a mistake. Al-Kindi had already sown the seeds of his intellectual revolution. His disciples continued his work in secret. This persecution also reveals Al-Kindi's intellectual courage. At a time when conformity was safer, he chose truth. At a time when orthodoxy was rewarded, he chose innovation. This courage makes him a model for all seekers of truth. But here's the beautiful part. Even persecuted, Al-Kindi won. His ideas spread like wildfire. His disciples, like Al-Farabi and later Averroes, took up and developed his theories. And get this, in the 12th century, Al-Kindi's works were translated into Latin. Gerard of Cremona, the great translator, introduced Al-Kindi to Europe. Thomas Aquinas, the giant of scholasticism, drew directly from his methods. In the universities of Paris, Oxford, Bologna, they studied Alkindus. His treatise, De Radiis, on rays, even influenced Roger Bacon. His method of reconciling faith and reason became the model for scholasticism. But Al-Kindi's legacy goes beyond philosophy. In optics, his work on light refraction prepared the way for Ibn al-Haytham. In music, his theory of modes influenced Arab and Western musicology. And his cryptanalysis, it remained the reference method until the invention of the computer. Secret services used it for centuries. Today, its principles still protect our internet communications. Today, Al-Kindi still fascinates. Universities bear his name. His manuscripts are studied in the greatest libraries. In 2003, UNESCO celebrated the 1200th anniversary of his birth. So what lesson can we draw from Al-Kindi's life? First, open-mindedness. This man had the courage to embrace universal wisdom, regardless of its origin. Truth has no homeland, we might say. Next, reconciliation. Al-Kindi shows us that you can be deeply religious and rigorously rational. Faith and reason are not enemies, they are complementary. Finally, legacy. Al-Kindi proves that ideas have no borders. A 9th century Arab philosopher still influences our world today. His decryption methods protect our internet communications. And you? What fascinates you most about Al-Kindi? His philosophy? His scientific discoveries? His method of reconciliation? Tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the one on Al-Razi that I made recently. And for more discoveries about history's forgotten geniuses, subscribe and hit the bell. See you very soon for another historical adventure. Peace be upon you.